Hi, my name is Stacey Bell Lynn. I spent 20 years working in local news, and 13 years ago, I married an NFL player turned coach, Anthony Lynn, and joined the world of NFL superwives. I've always loved hearing about the life behind the headlines. It's where you find the common thread that connects us. That's what I want to do here. My husband played and coached for the Broncos and 49ers. He's currently the running backs coordinator for the Commanders. We've moved 6 times across the country for his various jobs. When I first met my husband, I didn't know anything about football. I just loved the commercials and the snacks. Well, trust me, that's changed. In my new NFL world, the wives became my family and confidants. It is a sisterhood that transcends teams and rivalries. In each episode, I'll talk with a significant other of a player or coach, the football wives who hold it all together. We'll get real and give you a behind-the-scenes glimpse of it all. This is the world that I want to share with you. Welcome to Super Wives of the NFL, their inside stories. Let's kick it off. Thanks for joining me for another edition of Super Wives of the NFL. I'm Stacey Bell Lynn, and I am joined today by none other than Miss Kiya Tomlin. Kiya, thank you so much for joining me.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
I have to say, my friend Angel Roberts facilitated this. I said, I really want to get Kiya, but I don't want to ask. She's so busy. And so Angel was like, girl, do you want me to just text and see? I said, yes, please. And you immediately responded. So thank you.
Oh, my pleasure. We enjoyed Angel this summer, so.
Oh, I love her. She is the best. So let's talk. Everybody knows, your husband, Mike Tomlin. We'll get to that. But I want to talk about your career. You're a designer. You started should we call it the Kiya Tomlin collection about 10 years ago, right?
Yes, that's correct.
So were you always into fashion? Did you always have an eye for fashion?
Yeah, so I have always been into fashion. It really started when I was very little. We grew up with not a lot of money, and the town we lived in, we were one of 3 Black families in this kind of wealthy town, of which we didn't have money, and so I was already not fitting in. But then, additionally, I was very, very small. And in kindergarten, my classmates used to put me on their hip and walk around with me like a little toddler because I was so little, and I hated it. I absolutely hated it. But because I was so small, I couldn't wear the same things that the other kids were wearing, even if we could afford them. I couldn't wear them, and so when I was about 10, I asked my mom for a sewing machine, and so I learned to sew, and that's how I started sewing and designing clothes that actually fit me. And it was always just something I loved to do. Once I realized that I could make things to fit me that I could then fit in and I felt comfortable in, then I started to realize that I could make things that were better than what everyone else was wearing, and I could stand out in a good way. And so that's where my kind of love of fashion started. And from then on, I've just been helping women and designing for women.
I did not know you could sew, but which that would make sense because you're a designer. So I remember, I think it was maybe 10 years ago, we were in Arizona for a meeting, and you were shooting your catalog. I think it was then. You were just launching the collection and you were shooting it then. So that was 10 years ago when you started doing. And look, I know that when you grew up in a household like with our husbands, anything that you do, you have to be good at it. You plan to be successful. But did you see 10 years ago when you started this, did you even believe it could become what it's become?
When I started this, it was more of like it was kind of a side hustle. And I would say probably a second side hustle because, job number 1 was raising the kids. Yeah. Job number 2 is I was a custom designer. I did evening wear, wedding gowns, mother of the groom, mother of bride. That's what my, real business was. And this collection came as kind of a side gig of wanting something comfortable and functional for myself, and that I didn't have to think about it. It just fit my lifestyle, but then also a way to reach women and help women feel the way that I could make them feel when I did custom designs. Like when I do custom designs, women, and the majority of the women that would come were women that had, they couldn't find what they were looking for on the racks in the stores. It was matronly, didn't fit right. They didn't feel attractive. a lot of times they were women that were very self-conscious and, maybe had a big event coming up. So to be able to design for women and make them feel so beautiful and excited about their event and want all eyes on them, but custom is very expensive. So my goal with this collection was to be able to create that same feeling, but make it affordable and obtainable for more women. And so that's where the second side hustle started.
So you did, and you have the team gear. Like this is my commander shirt that I love. And so now you have a licensing deal. Is it with all of the teams? So you have gear for all of the teams?
Yes. So when you're licensed with the NFL, you're licensed for 31 teams. The Dallas Cowboys are separately, but I am also licensed for the Dallas Cowboys as well. So we do have licensed apparel for all 32 teams.
I want to, touch on the fact that we've seen, so many designers really blow up in the last couple of years with their designs for NFL or just, athletic-based wear for women to wear to games. We'll put it like that. Women's fashions for professional sports. Is it frustrating sometimes to see some of these other brands get all of this attention when you've been doing this for so long?
I don't know that I'd say frustrating, because I'm really proud of what I built with the time that I've allotted. Like I said, the licensed NFL was even after the other collection.
Right.
So to be able to accomplish what I've been able to accomplish while still making my family, my 3 busy kids, my top priority. Then I have my main, I don't do custom design anymore, but I have my main Kiya Tomlin line. And then to add on the NFL line, I wouldn't say that I'm frustrated, but we also do it differently. Our NFL line is 100% made in America. Our fabric is knit in LA. We have our own factory that I've built here in Pittsburgh and learned how to run. So we manufacture everything in house. We do it with high quality bamboo fabric, and the way we produce, we keep responsibility in mind. So we don't send it out to a big factory and make hordes and hordes and hordes of stuff that, a team sees in tanks and nobody wants it. We do really small batches. If it sells well, maybe we'll make more. If it doesn't sell well, we'll stop making and we'll reallocate that fabric to that team for maybe next year. So, new designs for next year, and we kind of hold off. And then when a team is doing really well and their sales are surging, we can put more stuff into production. If a team is tanking and fans aren't buying, we just stop making it. So we definitely have a different model than some of the other, probably almost all the other brands. And so I'm proud of that.
The quality though of this, and I just got this a few weeks ago, the quality, like the way it drapes and it's loose and it fits in all the right places. I can just tell there was a lot of thought put into the design of this. And it's great quality. I love it.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely designed for women's bodies. And since my background is in custom design, the things that I learned as a custom designer, fitting real bodies, flattering real bodies, listening to what women want, it's all skills that are not taught in design school. And so I think that I'm definitely bringing that new approach to my licensed apparel line, as well as a custom designer, your clientele is not 20-year-olds. My clientele was, 40 to 65 and up. And so I have such a passion for that market. Not only am I now in that market, but there's such a gap there that's not addressed with how women want to present themselves, how our bodies are changing, how we want to, show up in the world and be comfortable. So that's my niche. And that's, I think, another thing that separates our NFL collection from other brands.
No, and I agree, because I say this all the time. I'm no longer going to the games trying to look like a 25 or even 30-year-old. I'm just at a different place in my life, but I still want to be cute. But I need to be comfortable and things need to fit in case I had a little too much to eat the day before.
Yes.
And this is where, I love this shirt. It's fitted in all the right places. It's loose in all the right places. I can just tell there's a lot of detail that went into it. And I also want to point out, you don't just do like NFL apparel. You have just a line of clothes for the everyday woman.
Correct. So our NFL collection is actually kind of, for the most part, an offshoot of our regular collection. We'll take things that sold well, and then we'll kind of NFL, give them the NFL flair to them. So everything we do for the NFL has pretty much already been tested in our regular brand.
And I have a girlfriend who bought some of your stuff and she loves it. Just the packaging, the attention to detail in the packaging. It's filled with all of these inspirational messages for women. I think mine said, "We wear the pants, but why not look good?" or something like that. So I can
Yeah.
tell, like, I see your stamp on every piece of this process.
Yes, I definitely try. It is very personal to me, and so I think that comes through.
Now, did you encounter when you were first starting out, did you encounter or did you even notice people who maybe didn't take you seriously and they thought you were just doing this because of your husband and his success?
Yeah, I still get that today, that everyone just assumes that I kind of just, I don't know, just fund it or oversee it, or it's just like, oh yeah, I want to start a fashion brand. So like when people come into our store and not only do they see that I'm actually there,
Mhm.
that I'm actually working and, drafting patterns, and, they are just like shocked and like, oh my gosh, I didn't expect to see you here. I'm like, well, I work here. What did you
Kind of
think?
my
And
story, really. Yeah.
yeah. And so, the way our store is set up in Pittsburgh is we have a, boutique in the front, but my design studio is right there. So you could be there shopping and you can watch me pattern draft and make samples, and see me like actually making the garments. Now our actual factory is a few miles away, so we don't see that on site anymore. But yeah, I am there. Yep, drafting patterns.
Of course, you live in Pittsburgh, but how nice is it, and what a good feeling it is to like have a business in the community and be able to employ people and give back to the community that's been so good to you and your family all these years.
I have to say that is definitely what I'm most proud of,
Mhm.
is being able to employ, and particularly women. Say our sewing team is made up of women who are Afghan refugees, and so they were evacuated after the United States left Afghanistan. They came over, don't speak any English, but they sew and they like to sew, and they all have children, and so I let them schedule their work hours around their childcare, and I'm really proud to be able to say that I'm helping them, support them, because I don't think without English speaking skills, they would not be able to find work that paid what I'm paying. So I think that I'm proud that I'm helping take care of them and let them earn a living and contribute to their household.
That is just, I get chills hearing you talk about that. That is wonderful. What a wonderful way to give back.
Yeah,
Um,
I was really like, one of them was, they came over, didn't have a license. One was able to get their license and then was able to buy a car for herself.
mhm.
And another one, her and her husband, they were in, Section 8 housing. That's where they resettle everyone. And they were able, with their combined salaries, they were able to buy their first home. Unfortunately, it had to be further out away from the city, so she's not with us anymore. But to be able to say that I helped employ her to be able to, for them to be able to afford a home for their family, is really exciting.
How humbling is that to go from like the one life where you see all of this success and this overflow, of abundance with the NFL, but then to have these other people who are just struggling and happy to have a place to work and a decent place to live? How that has to be humbling for you.
Absolutely, it really keeps things real. Keeps things real.
Now you have three kids, right? Two boys and your daughter. Your daughter's a gymnast.
Yes, she is starting her sophomore year at the University of Georgia, where she is on a gymnastics scholarship. So you can tune in to Friday Night Heights and see the gym dogs compete. See her on TV.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank
So for
you.
other, like, how do you balance all of this? And you still have a husband. You've got your husband. You've got the three kids and a business. What would you tell women who are trying to get out of their heads, who are just a little overwhelmed, trying to balance it all? Because you really seem to be doing it.
I would say, fortunately, my husband works very long hours. He's kind of almost a non-factor, although I do have to, since he's not home very often, I do want to make sure that when it does have that window, I'm not traveling the globe, doing
Yeah.
something else. But otherwise, I think what worked for me is, even though I worked and run my own business, I still considered myself an at-home mom, because I still was like kids first.
Yes.
But at the same time, letting them participate in what I was doing, letting them see what I was doing, letting them have to help me in what I'm doing, I think was very educational for them. They watched me build my business. They watched me make the mistakes. They celebrated the successes with me. During COVID, we converted our factory into mask making, and I was excited to say that I was my daughter's very first employer. She got her working papers, and she sat at the sewing machine for 8 hours a day sewing COVID masks. and I was able to kind of be that initial influence, as well as see her work ethic, which was I was really impressed and proud of. So I don't think that there's such a thing as balance. I think you make room for what you want to make room for.
I remember someone told me years ago, and this was another coach's wife in this business, and she said, it's never 50-50. There are going to be times when you have to give 70 and your husband can only give 30. There are going to be times when it's 40-60, but get that notion out of your head. It's never going to be 50-50. And I think for me, that's been a lot of truth to that. So, I don't resent it. I just go with the flow. But sure. Going back to what you said about your kids, how much, I think it's wonderful for them to see your work ethic and what you are doing for you outside of just being, the wife, the mom. You're building this business for you. How do you think that's going to impact your daughter and even your son's long run? What message do you want that to send to them?
Well, I definitely want it to send to my daughter. And I think it, just knowing her and understanding her, I think it has shown her to be independent. Yeah. She is not waiting around for the prince. She is, going for herself. And then for my boys, I want them to, when they find a partner, to know that the partner has dreams as well. It's not about, serving the husband and, being the maid and all of that stuff. I want them to be supportive of what their partner chooses to do as well. But I think also just work ethic in general. I think both Mike and I together show all of our kids, the amount of hard work they have to put in.
Right. And I think you guys are wonderful examples of that. All right. So we got to talk about football and the sisterhood. So I always like to ask people, how did you guys meet?
So Mike and I met in college, actually, at the College of William & Mary, my freshman year and this is a redshirt junior year, I think is how they call it.
Okay. Were you into football? Because I was not. Like, I didn't, when I met Anthony, I didn't know anything. And we met later in life, like we were mid-30s, and I followed football, but I wasn't really into it. Were you into it in college to the degree that you were like, oh, this is a football player, he's a big deal?
No, absolutely not. I did not know anything about football, didn't watch football. I used to cheer when I was in second to fourth grade. I cheered for Little League football, but I couldn't tell you what was happening on the field or, I just knew the cheers. I didn't know what the game was about. When I got to college, did not know anything about football. I didn't even go to the games. Even after Mike and I started dating, I didn't go to the games. I didn't think it was, I don't know. I guess I didn't realize that it was such a big deal. It was culture. And I didn't realize that I was kind of the oddball, that I was not engrossed in the football culture.
But I think sometimes that protects you a little bit, because I know in the beginning for me, and I've said this too, even when we were dating, I remember were we dating or we were engaged? But it's a very specific game. We came to Pittsburgh and we actually played the Steelers. I think we were with the Jets and we lost. And that game sent you guys to the Super Bowl. I have no idea what year it was. But I remember everybody was standing around and all the other women were crying. They were upset. And I thought, okay, this is too bad, but I have to go to work tomorrow. I get some rest because I got to drive back to Cleveland. I have to be on the air tomorrow night. I think sometimes that distance from it in the beginning, it keeps you from getting too caught up in it where it doesn't become your identity.
Yes, absolutely. And I think for sure work does that for me now, because I could easily, now that I'm, we've been married for, almost 30 years, you would think by now I would have learned the game and gotten sucked into it and been interested. But working and taking care of the kids allows me to not get sucked into it, which I don't want to get sucked into it. I don't want to be that person. And my husband doesn't want to be that person, doesn't want me to be that person. He doesn't want to come home and have me waiting at the door, saying, well, I saw this on the news. Why didn't we run this? Or what's this player doing? Or, that kind of thing. So when he comes home, we don't talk football. We don't watch football on TV. We, don't watch ESPN or Sports Center. He actually calls it post office TV because his father-in-law worked for 50 some years for the post office, and he's like, that would be like my father-in-law coming home and watching post office TV after having been at the post office all day. And I was like, yeah, that sounds about right.
But it's nice to have that distance. Like I know for me, a lot of times when I'll go to all of the home games. I do very few away games, but when they are playing away and I'm home, I relish that time because I'll just check the score online and keep it moving. Like I don't sit and watch the whole game. I can tell by the way people are blowing up my phone if we're winning or losing. Like I just don't have to like immerse myself in it all of the time. I think that distance is healthy.
Yes, I do. I don't go to any away games.
Okay.
Although I will be going to Ireland. I don't go to any away games. I used to not go to the home games. I do now, and I actually enjoy watching it on TV. I think there's something about the crowd noise, and it's like soothing to me. And so I'm a big couch blanket.
Yes.
I don't have people over, and I just I'll nap, I'll fall asleep,
Right.
during the game. If I can get a Sunday afternoon away game on a rainy day, that is the best.
I am with you. So
I
you
am
don't even go to
napping.
home games. You didn't at one point. At one point, you did not go to home games.
No, when we first got married, I would only go if the weather was nice because I don't know, it's like sitting out. It's like going to the park. I didn't know what was
Right.
going on, but the weather's nice, so I'll sit out there. Then when we had our kids, and that was just, I'm not taking toddlers. That's just way too much. And so I stopped going, but Mike's parents would come and they would take the kids. So then I was like home alone, which was like, oh, such a treat. Like I'd be like, go to the game, go to the game. And then when we got to Pittsburgh, and he was the head coach, I did go to the games because Mr. Rooney, the owner who passed away years ago, he would come into our suite before the game and, wish me luck and everything. And so I was like, that's kind of crappy for the head coach's wife not to be at the game. He's going to come in. But then once he left Pittsburgh to become the ambassador to Ireland, then I stopped going because he wasn't coming in the box anymore. But then when my father-in-law was diagnosed with Parkinson's, and so they needed some help, so then I started going to the games again to help my in-laws get in and out of the game. So.
Okay. No, I remember you saying back in the day that you didn't go to all of the games, and I remember thinking she is my hero because if I could, like I said, I'll do the home games. I recently got out of going to preseason games unless somebody invites me to sit in their suite. Other than that, I'm not going to preseason games. And I don't like night games. Like I need to be at home. Like I need my serums and my bonnet on by a certain time. Like why am I here? It's 9:30. What am I doing?
I like the energy of night games, but I also like to go in my pajamas. So I'm in like the most comfy thing ever and probably have slippers on.
Now, when you guys came to Pittsburgh, and this is a volatile business, I feel like it's gotten even more, volatile over the years where you can get fired after a year or two. Did you ever think you would have been in Pittsburgh for as long? How long have you been there?
I think this is our 19th season.
Did you even fathom that or think that could happen when you came there so many years ago?
I don't even know if I thought that far. Our whole marriage, we had been moving like every 2 years. Fortunately, we were never fired. It was always for a better position. And I actually liked moving. After about 2 years, I was like, all right, seeing the city, I'm done, like move on. So I don't know that I really thought about being here long term, but by then we did have 3 kids. So it was kind of nice to be settled. But yeah, I don't know that I really thought about it. It was just always moving had always been our life. So I didn't fear it.
So you're not like some of us where you think, and I don't fear the moving. I'm accustomed to it now, but I never, like in our apartments, I never hang pictures. I always have the mover's number at the ready just in case. You don't live in that constant state of, okay, this could be over in a year. Okay, we could be gone in 2 years. You just don't think like that.
I don't, but I still don't hang pictures or curtains, but I think that's just because I grew up poor and we didn't have pictures or curtains to hang.
Oh, goodness, that is hilarious. Okay, so I wanted to talk about the reason that I wanted to do this podcast was to shine a light on, the women behind the men in the NFL, like yourself and so many other people, and talk about this NFL sisterhood. When you first came into this NFL world, who was your mentor or your role model?
Let's see. When we first came into the NFL, we were so young. Mike was, I think he had some players that were even older than him when we were at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. There was a woman. Oh my God, I can't think of what her name is now. Oh crap, Caldwell, last name. Cannot remember. Brain freeze on what her first name
Was
was.
it Jim Caldwell's wife?
Yes,
Jim?
Jim Caldwell's wife. I can't remember her name.
Mhm.
But we had just had our first baby, and she was helpful just in terms of advice of
Yes.
just like, do this, don't do that. And we just looked up to them. They had, their kids were much older at the time, but really it took a little while for me to kind of find the sisterhood because for so long we were so young compared to everyone else. Everyone else was, their kids were at least high school age, maybe older.
Mhm. And I remember her too. I can't remember her name, Jim Caldwell's wife, but she was so nice. I remember in the beginning her giving some really good advice about tickets, because people think we just print tickets. And she was like,
Mhm.
you got to get a hold of those tickets early. Like, don't start. She gave the best advice. She really did.
Mhm.
For you, being the head coach's wife, how do you try to not even be a mentor, but just let the other coaches' wives on the team know, I've been there, I got you. If you need anything, I'm here. Because that was always my vibe from you from the first time I met you, that you were just really cool. And if I had an issue, maybe I could reach out to you. You just always seemed approachable, even though there was this, oh, that's Mike Tomlin's wife, that's Kiya Tomlin. You seem so approachable. So how do you try to be that person for the other coaches' wives on your staff?
I already said that. You took the word right out of my mouth. I do. I try to be. I just want them to know that I'm approachable. Although
Mhm.
I'm, may not be at the game, or I may not be, all up in the mix, and having a wives organization and doing this and doing that. That I am approachable. If there's something you guys, they want to do or need to talk to me about, I am there. But that I do intentionally keep myself busy in my own stuff.
Yeah.
For my own sanity and my own fulfillment.
Okay, I love that. I want to talk about this is a question. Do you still get excited when you enter the stadium after all of these years? Because you guys have a really cool stadium. It's such a fun place to watch a game. Do you still get nervous and excited when you go?
I don't know that I ever did.
You are
It's like, I don't know. It's like, I'm thinking it's probably like the same feeling I get if I'm going to like a Broadway show. I don't know. It's just like, it's an event. I remember getting nervous for like big games,
yes.
like Super Bowl or like a big playoff game.
Mhm.
But a regular game, no,
Okay.
I don't.
But you do get for the big games and the Super Bowls and things like that.
Yes, for the
Okay.
big game.
How do you handle, and this is going to be an odd question, like, how do you handle it when people, you probably don't even notice, like I spend a lot of time on social media and people back in the day would say things like, ooh, that Anthony Lynn is handsome. And I'd be like, girl, please, like, just delete this comment because he cannot be perfect. Like, you probably don't even notice stuff like that, right?
I do see stuff. I mean, but because I have a brand and I have social media and we're a
Yeah.
little bit accessible and people about town. I do hear that and I think it's hilarious. I remember going somewhere and some older woman was like, "Your husband, he is my Tootsie Roll man. That's my Tootsie Roll man."
Not the Tootsie Roll. She really showed her age with that. The
Oh
Tootsie
yeah, yeah, Tootsie Roll man.
So you
So
just laugh about it. That's all you could do. Okay. So final two questions because I know you're busy. I want to go back to fashion. What are the fashion trends for this year? Is there anything we need to be on the lookout for that's going to be fashionable this year?
Okay, so I know I'm a fashion designer, but I actually do not design on follow trends. Um, I know. I don't
That's
follow
okay
trends.
though.
Because my brand is all about just comfort, elegance, function. Um, yeah, I don't know. I find, not to mention, I find trends like I feel like they're always kind of the same. It's always military
Hmm.
inspired. There's always a print. There's, it's a lot of the same stuff. So yeah, I don't know. I follow silhouettes and I'm gonna just create my own stuff.
So your clothes are more timeless.
They are timeless. Hmm.
Okay. And getting back to the NFL sisterhood, like what has this NFL sisterhood meant to you along the way? Just meeting people, like Caldwell's wife. Just how has the NFL sisterhood benefited you along the way?
It's a group of women that understand the lifestyle. There's very few of us, very few people that can fully understand what we're going through. And so to be able to have someone or a group of women that can guide you on that, or you can, or an ear to that, or that even that you can help with that, it's definitely a little sisterhood sorority.
I love that. Okay, Kiya, thank you. Because I know you're busy and you have a lot going on. But for those of you who missed it, this was Kiya Tomlin. Her husband is Mike Tomlin of the Pittsburgh Steelers. And congratulations just on the success of your fashion line. I'll definitely be ordering more stuff. And you were featured in Forbes magazine as well. So thank you for taking a few minutes out of your busy day today to talk with us. And I'm going to manifest this. One day I'm coming with a camera crew to your studio to do a more in-depth piece. So
I
be
would
ready.
love to yeah, would love to have you. Welcome it.
All right. Thank you, Kiya.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks for listening, and thanks in advance for liking this podcast and leaving a review. Meet you here next week.